Glenn-Paul Chomniak, and I was born in 1962, so I'm 63 years old. It's something I love about the aging process, the experience that I'm borrowing off of, that I've collected up over the years. Sometimes I wish I had a little chip in my head I could hand to my kids and say, here, I'm going to go, this is what you can use. It's got all the knowledge and information on it. Because you think of all the people that have been buried into the ground, Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, everything, Nikola Tesla, think of all their knowledge they got. Where is it? Anyway, when do I feel most my age? Oh, that's a tough one. Probably when I'm good at the kayaking, but lots of other problems, respiratory-wise, probably physically. I'm pretty active, but at the same time, I'm challenged. So I would say that. What's an invention that could make aging easier? Well, this whole robotics and AI, I think, would help a lot. Like the machines that Arnold Schwarzenegger rides in, those films, where there's a giant Megatron. I think items like that would make it easier. Some people have really bad arthritis in their hands, and there should be some kind of device you can just slip on your hand, like if from an industrial designer's perspective. Or if you need to walk, because sometimes I have a hard time going up with my respiratory illness, and it'd be nice to be able to just have a way to get up the stairs without getting to the top and needing to sit down for 20 minutes for one flight when everybody else is flying by. And also visually, like driving aids, because now the headlights are so brutal, and I don't know, is that an age thing? And then I ask my kids, and they go, no, Dad, it's the same thing, like those headlights are so bright. Anyway, I think automation technology is a good answer. The night I met Terry Fox, a meaningful encounter I had, when I was in high school, in grade 12, I met Terry Fox coming into Oshawa, Ontario at the gas station at the city limits. He had his trainer there with him. There was three of them in the van. I think it was a Chevy van, maybe a Ford. And they pulled into the gas station, and nobody was there to greet him except Glenn. And it was 2:30 in the morning, and I'm like, this is Terry Fox. I gave them water and chat and put gas in and everything. And they hung around for an hour or so. And they were going to sleep and then get up and then head into City Hall. But just talking to him and meeting him and seeing just he was an ordinary guy, picking his nose and had gas like everybody else, with his leg and everything. And as before, he had his second bout of cancer. And he just left an impression on me, that determination. That's what I remember. Determination. Very, very heartful moment. What was I like as a child, and then I brought in personalities? Yes, I'm very fastidious. I'm a bit uptight, a bit hyper, a bit of a clean freak. That's what my business ended up being after all my university education, having a cleaning service and doing home detailing and other types of detailing. Because I'm just one time when I was young, my mom found me in the creek, and when I was in grade 3 or 4, with a bar of soap, and just took off all my clothes and underwear, and I was taking a bath in the creek down by our house. My mom caught me doing that, and she always reminded me of that. So yeah, since then I've always been very, very clean, don't smell, clean yourself, clean your nails, just, clean your house. Don't leave that goop around the bottom of the toilet. Get it on in there and dig it out. That's my answer. I think that was the question. If I could choose one age to be, what age would I choose to be? 49. The reason for that would be just before 50, and things are kind of rolling then. And all of a sudden in the last 10, 15 years, it's, you can feel the aging kind of creeping up on you. I still feel really young, except then I realize that I'm not. And that's, yeah. What's one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about aging? I think there's the younger kids today, not accusing them of anything, but a matter of respect and listening to your elders. It's not the same that it used to be. I remember when I was young, my dad used to say, listen to your grandfather. And now there's a lot of pushback. And I think it's from media, social media exposure, and people having, this device in their hand. It's an oracle, it knows everything on the planet, every song. You can't tell somebody, oh, I know this song. Yeah, I do get that. But so there's a bit of a gap between respecting seniors and showing respect and being considerate. We'll help them across the road. When I go to the grocery store, I see some older woman coming out using a walker or whatever. I have a handicap sticker on my car. And I pull up beside her and can I help you? And they're like a bit suspicious, like, who are you? I'm just a guy, I just live here, but let me help you with your groceries. I don't see a lot of that. Boy Scouting, I call it. What is a song that stuck with me throughout my life and why is it important to me? I'd have to say Casey and the Sunshine Band, Get Down Tonight. Hey, everybody, down for get, that song. I saw them when I was in grade 6 or grade 7 in middle school at Ontario Place Forum. We had to sneak in by climbing under the bridge because they cut all the gates off. And we snuck underneath and we got up and we got inside and I remember seeing them. And it was the best thing that ever happened in my life, my friend Paul Bourgeois. And I always remember that song, and I still to this day, whenever I get in a mood and I feel sad, I put that Casey and the Sunshine Band song on. That whole album, actually. It stuck with me all my life because it just meant live. It's time to live. Do I have any aspirations? Well, I'd like to travel again a bit more. I'm on a bit of a low-key traveling because of my medical condition, but I would like to travel again, get back over to finish what I started with my wife and go to Italy. And I'd love to go to the Far East, Japan and all that, but it's so long, those flights. But those are my aspirations, is to get healthy enough because I'm on the upswing health-wise so that I can possibly do that. Just need a doctor to say, okay. What always bugged me when I was young was people picking on other people. All the bullies at our school. And I was a big tough guy, but I didn't like when people were picking on other people all the time. There's my friend Dave, who's had Down syndrome and that. People used to pick on him all the time. And I used to get very upset at stuff like that. And over the years, I guess I kind of have let it go, but maybe not. I don't know if that's the right answer. But anyway, that's something that came to mind immediately. Am I afraid of dying at this age? And is that what I think about often? Yes. I'd like to stick around another 20 years. My heart holds out. And I do think about it quite a bit. I can think about my legacy and what's going to happen, and my wife and my kids and so forth. Yes, for sure. It doesn't obsess me, and I'm not worried about it, but, walking out the door, boom, you'd get hit by a truck. But when I say to my younger self, enjoy the moment, live for today, do a lot of things that you always did. Don't do the things that you're going to, don't miss out on the opportunities, I guess is what I'm saying. Go for it. Yeah, go for it. Did I have, when I was growing up, did I have people around me that were a lot older? Yes, because my mom had one of the babysitter lived with us, and her boyfriend Paul Dumas lived there, and all those guys from the 70s used to come over with all their albums, and they were smoking pot back then, and they all were taking LSD, and I got exposed to all that and didn't do any of that stuff. But I was very much influenced by these older, a lot of guys. Paul had 5 or 6 guys always coming around, and Debbie and her girlfriends. But yeah, I gravitated to hanging out with those guys, and they were a lot older, and they did lead me in the right direction. They're all good guys, and they left a good impression on me about young men and what they did, and about being physically active in sports and playing hockey and everything. As a man at my age, do I feel pressure to stay young? Yeah, a little bit. I like to go out dancing more than I do right now because, once again, because of my hurt situation, it's hard to dance and to indulge. And yeah, I definitely would like to be more active that way, physically, like dancing and moving around, so forth. That's why I'm looking forward to the kayak season coming up, because we swim now, but I'm so looking forward to kayaking because I can do that, because it's like this. It's not with the legs, like different heart situation. Anyway, what's a quality about myself that I have now that I didn't have when I was younger? I was going to say a little bit more patience, although I'm not very patient because my son is very much like that. But I think I, from experience, realized that slow and steady wins the race. You don't have to jet to the finish line. And I think that that's a really important quality. And I do think I've realized that over the years. I just deep breath, calm, and cool heads prevail. Why did I want to participate? How has it been for me? I've really enjoyed the chat and the questions and feel a bit conscientious about some of my answers. I don't mean to harp on about my hurt. But I wanted to participate because I think it's important that older people have a voice because everything's so young oriented now. You know, like I say to people, remember much music? But when I was younger, I used to listen to Finkelman's 45 on Saturday night on CBC. And they were playing all the 50s songs, and that wasn't my era. But anyway, I wanted to be able to have a voice to say something and to express myself and show that we're still hip. It's hip to be cool. Or we say cool. See, my kids say sick and bank, and they use all these other words. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's my answer. This illness made me appreciate life more. Been missing out on yes, definitely. Because like I said, I missed out on being more physically active, riding my bike on the spit as opposed to taking a short walk. And my wife leaves me on a rock, goes to the end and back. And I'm starting to get better at it. And then swimming less, and yeah, for sure. It's affected me, for sure. Am I forced to look into the small little accomplishments? Yes, but I think overall it's just a component of the bigger picture. It's like a little part of it. It's like, okay, I did this, I can do that. I can expel some energy here, but then I got to rest for a bit because I can feel my AFib moving around, my heart bouncing all over the root. It's like, and then it makes me tired and blah, blah, blah. And then I can get re-energized and go again. So I feel like an iPhone. I need to be plugged in every once in a while to be recharged. That's the way I best describe it.